The best piece of advice I have for someone trying to succeed in the film industry or any creative space is if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
One of the best to ever do it.
What is freedom? I think I stole this from Bob Dylan, but maybe I stole this from Woody Guthrie. Freedom for me is waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night, and in between doing exactly what I want to do. What's the secret to happiness? The secret to happiness is finding something you love and then doing that for the rest of your life.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Site Review Tuesday. I'm Robert with Zenfolio Customer Success, and I want to say thank you for joining me. Now, here in a minute, we're going to get to reviewing one of your websites, and I do want to point out that while this has been pre-recorded, I'm hanging out in the chat, interacting with you guys live and answering your questions. Now, if you're interested in having your website reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your site. And in addition to getting a site review, I also offer a one-on-one session to each photographer who has had a site review done to help them answer any questions or assist in making any changes that they may want to make. Now, don't forget, we also live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope to see you there. Let's get into the site review. Hey everybody, and welcome to Site Review Tuesday. This is Robert, and today we're going to be reviewing the website broadcastprophoto.com. So let me just bring this down so you guys can see that address. Again, that's broadcastprophoto.com. We're going to go ahead and get started right here on the homepage. So starting off, while I have this pulled down, I do see right up here that we're kind of using the default browser favicon, and this is definitely something up here. So there's a couple of things here. One, you could definitely customize this with a custom logo, and I did see something later on that would be nice to add up here, and I'll kind of call that out once we get to that. But also too, the title of this page is just Broadcast Pro Photo. So this is actually helpful for your SEO. It's in your Zenfolio account settings under search engine optimization. You can change the title of your site. Now, I wouldn't recommend changing it. What I would recommend is adding more information to it. This is just, again, going to be helpful to your SEO, and it's going to show up here, and things it can say is like Broadcast Pro Photo, Blue Ridge, Georgia, wedding, real estate, portrait photographer, something like that. You could add that information in here. And again, that's just going to be beneficial for your SEO. But let's go ahead and keep moving down and reviewing the rest of this site. All right, so starting out up here, you have a pretty simple site menu. So we go weddings, engagements, portraits, landscapes, information, and then there is kind of real estate stuck over here. So pretty nice setup. I'm a little confused why real estate is tagged on the end. It almost feels like an afterthought. I would probably consider moving this over. And then you have your information here kind of set up in a drop down. Which is not a bad thing at all. These site menu items, again, when you think about designing your website, you want to think about designing the path that you want visitors to follow. And so real estate is kind of stuck over here on the end, kind of by itself, a little bit odd, but not a big issue, just kind of something small and nitpicky about the organization of this. Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, like, how did they get this layout with all these different little content areas here? Well, this is actually a static photo that this has been designed and photoshopped and just uploaded into a gallery and set on this homepage here. So this is a single photo. This is not a template that you can get through Zenfolio. What this is, again, is they designed this photo in Photoshop and uploaded it and are just showing a static image here on the homepage. I will say one of the things that's confusing is some of this stuff it looks like we can click on, which, again, this being a photo, I know that we can't. But for visitors who come here and they click on this, It's not taking them anywhere, and so that might be a little confusing. So what you might think about doing is you might think about making this image clickable and taking them to a group page where then they can click and go into your different portfolios, just so that they're here and they're trying to click and they can't go anywhere. Maybe it's not so confusing. What do you guys think in chat about that? Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea? Would that be more confusing? I'm curious to see what you guys think about in chat about that idea. But let's just scroll down really quick to the bottom. And again, you have your site menu down here with your social media icons. I don't see your social media icons up here. There's not really a reason to have a second site menu down here at the bottom. Not a big deal breaker, just a little redundant. And you do have social media icons over here, and then you have them over here. So like this is showing Pinterest and Facebook. This is showing Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. And so that's definitely something to think about there. Is I would probably suggest turning off the footer entirely and then turning on all of your social media accounts here to show here. Now, I was looking around earlier, and one of the things I did notice is that your Instagram button seems to be broken. So I don't know if you've deleted your Instagram account or if you have changed it or something like that, but you definitely want to go in there and reconcile that. You don't want to have people clicking on things and ending up on pages like we just saw. All right, let's move on to your portfolio. So what we're going to do is start here with weddings and engagements. That's the first one that you have set up here. So we're going to click on this, and I want you guys to notice a couple of things here. First of all, if I move this down, this opened up in a new tab. And now if you look up here, this does have some more information here. So it kind of has some of what I was talking about over here, but it did open up in a new tab. Now this is not necessary to have this open up in a new tab because you're still keeping all of your navigation here the same as you have on your home page. And so if you have all of your links set up to open in new tabs where the visitor is going to end with a bunch of tabs opened up that are all on your website, that could get a little frustrating to a visitor. So the only time I really recommend having your site open up to new tabs is if they're leaving your Zenfolio account and going somewhere else where they're going to lose that navigation. So this would be perfectly fine opening up in the same tab. There's not a reason for us to leave this here. And then back to something that I missed really quick on the homepage. So I try to bring this up every episode. Right now on the homepage here, we really have no idea what areas and what location you service. So you taking the time to make this really nice photo on here that's got all this different stuff. But if I'm looking at this, I have no idea where you're at. I mean, I could make some guesses based on the scenery and the location. And it didn't take me quick to find that information, but it is nice to have that information on a homepage. Now, one of the things that I will point out is I'm not suggesting that you add that information to the image, because if it's on the image, that's actually not readable by search engines. You need to place that information in like a welcome message or something like that, where it's actual text on the page that your visitors can read, but so can search engines, and that's going to help with your SEO. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to that weddings and engagement portfolio, and let's just start from here. So right here is where you start getting the idea of where you're located, the areas that you service. Right up here at the top, it says Blue Ridge, Georgia, wedding photography. So great. One site menu item in, and I already know where you're located. So I think that's great. You have some really nice text up here. And then you have your photos here. Now the photos are rather large, honestly. Not that I think this is a bad thing, but it does take me some scrolling to kind of view all of the photos. So I'm not sure that this is the best presentation. You have some absolutely gorgeous photos, but I think maybe setting this page up to be a little bit smaller, more of a thumbnail view where people can click on the images to see them larger rather than having to see them all really large might be a better experience for your visitors. But we're just going to keep scrolling here. The nice thing is I don't think you have too many photos. I think you have just the right amount. And then down here at the bottom, you have this kind of text down here that says, let's meet, love what you do, or love what you see, and you have contact. So this is a custom page. All right. And that's definitely perfectly fine to use a custom page for this. I think it's really cool that you have it set up this way. One of the things that I'm not seeing is any kind of categories, keywords, anything like that, which you can have on custom pages. There is a place for the metadata that you can put that information in here. And then the other thing too, again, is that these images are really large. So I'm not 100% sure that this is the best experience for a visitor, but this page is definitely nicely set up. I like that you have information at the bottom about meeting and discussing it, and you have contact information. One of the things I will say is that this is a custom page, so these could be links right here. So rather than having to copy and paste this email address, you could have this hyperlinks to an email link so that I can just click on it and it would open up my Gmail or whatever I use to send emails and have an email ready to go, and I would just type in my content and hit send. So something to think about here, or you could just link to your built-in contact page. All right. But in regards to this page, again, the images are rather large. I would definitely consider maybe making these a little bit smaller, giving the visitor more of a thumbnail view, and then letting them go into like dim the lights mode whenever they click on the image to actually see it larger. All right, let's keep moving on to your portraits. All right, and again, I just wanted you guys to see this. This is what I'm talking about. Let me move this down. That portrait link opened up to a new tab. And so again, we have all of the links that we had before. We're not losing anything, but it is opening up into a new tab. And so now I have 3 tabs open in my browser. I'm not going to close any of them. We're going to see how many tabs I end up with at the end of this review. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about having these open up in another tab. Now, the other thing that I'm noticing as well is each page is seeming to have kind of its own color theme, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But the one thing that I would say is I would consider keeping your logo information at least the same. As far as like on the home page here, you have it this white text and this black, and so you definitely want to establish some branding consistency. And if it's the white text on the black background, at least in your header up here, I would consider keeping that consistent. So, and I would probably consider keeping this header menu, as far as all the colors go on the header menu, 100% consistent through the site. So whether I'm here or here, this header doesn't change. It looks exactly the same. Maybe go with black with white text. And then as far as the content down here, you can definitely change the content down here to kind of suit that particular genre of photography. But I just would like to see some branding consistency established through the header up here. What do you guys think in chat? Do you guys like this different color themes on these different pages? Do you think it works? What are your thoughts in chats? I'm curious. Just let me know. Throw them out there in the chat. But we're going to keep moving on here. So here we are on the portrait page. And let me just get my browser back up there. And again, right here, great having location information in here. You talk about the different types of portraits that you do. And I will say the one thing that confused me when I was looking at this for the very first time is I clicked on portraits and I almost had to do a double take, because right away, the image that I'm seeing, at least this portion of the image, is a building. So I'm like, did I click on landscapes or did I click on portraits? It says portraits up here. And then I had to scroll down, and that's when I saw the couple right here. So I think this photo is beautiful. I think it's a great photo. I don't think this is a good choice to lead with on your portrait page. I was expecting to see something like this at first, or something like this. I'm not saying that this should be removed from this portfolio. I just don't think it's the best photo to lead with on your portrait portfolio. I think it should land something like this, or any of your other truly true portrait images here that don't make me think, wow, did I click on the wrong portfolio? Am I looking at real estate or something like that? So that was a little confusing for me at first until I started to scroll down. All right, so let's just keep scrolling down here. It looks like you do a large variety of different kinds of portraits. I think this is great. Again, we got a broken image here. Again, I'm not a huge fan of these really big images and having to do all this scrolling. As a visitor, you know, if I'm looking for a photographer, usually I'm busy, right? So we're busy. We have very limited amount of window time periods here. And so I want to be able to get a quick overview of your skills and then click on any images that I'm interested in to see larger. I don't want to be forced to see these large images right out of the gate. I want to be able to review a lot of images at once and then click on the ones that interest me. Now we do have this image here that's not showing up. I don't know if this image was deleted from the account, if the gallery that it was in was set to private or something like that, but this is definitely something you want to come back and check on here. All right, and now we've got some images that are kind of thrown off to the left. So that is one thing about doing a custom page, is you kind of have to add all this stuff in here, and sometimes they can get thrown off to the left or right depending on how you're adding it and the coding that you're using and all of that stuff. But we're going to keep scrolling here, and down here at the bottom, again, we have some nice text. I think this is great. Again, these could be turned into links where we could click and go to the email and all of that stuff. And then also too, we have this kind of redundant site menu down here. Now, since this page is so long due to the size of the images, I think having this header or this footer menu down here is not a bad thing, because after scrolling all the way down, it's nice not to have to scroll back up to the top to go to another portfolio. However, I still really believe making these images smaller and providing more of a thumbnail view at first is going to be a better experience. So let's just go back up to the top and let's keep moving along. So this was your portraits. Let's check out your landscapes. All right, and so that actually did not open up in a new tab. So let me just move this down really quick. We'll go back to portraits really quick and I'll just show you. So now we're clicking on landscapes, and that's actually opening up in the same tab, which is what I would recommend for almost everything that we've seen so far. There's not really a reason to have any of these open up to new tabs yet that I've seen. Everybody is staying on your Zenfolio account and not leaving and not losing the navigation. So there's really no reason for those to go to new tabs. All right. Okay, so again, here we are seeing a completely different color theme. Again, I'm fine with that down here. I just really want to see you establish some branding consistency up here in your header menu. All right, so this is your landscape. It looks like there's a lot of different landscape photos in here, and these are absolutely gorgeous. You have some really cool photos. They're beautiful. I like this one right here with the fire and the light, and then this sunrise photo right here is just amazing. Some absolutely gorgeous photos. You have them up here. You have people going to them. Can I buy these? Are these just to show off your skill? If you have these up here and you have them showing, why not go ahead and attach a price list to these and have these be available as prints for people to order, right? So they're here. I can share them, I can watch a slideshow, but I cannot purchase these as prints. And that's one of the nice things about having a Zenfolio account, is using those integrated vendors to sell prints of your photos. If these are here and people are navigating here and getting to these, why not go ahead and make some money off of these and sell some prints, right? So we're just going to keep going down here. Lots of gorgeous photos. I mean, there are just lots of gorgeous photos in here. One of the things that I would definitely consider is, you guys can't see it, but let me just drag this over here really quick to where you can. You see how small that scroll bar is? That means that there is a lot of photos in here. I would definitely consider breaking these up into maybe different categories. So maybe having a fine art and landscape drop down where it's like wildlife, outdoors, something like that. Having these broken down into smaller categories to where there's not so many photos that I'm trying to view on one page, and I can go directly to the category that really interests me. But the thing I'm curious about is, do we have any categories and keywords on this page? So I'm all the way down at the bottom, and one of the cool things, like, this is the first time I ever come across this, you actually have had people come in here and like this from Facebook. So good on you for getting people to come and actually give this page just a like. So that's really nice. Usually I tell people to turn this stuff off because we get here and there's no likes, and that does not look good. But nice that you've actually had some people come in here and give you some likes. I'm not seeing any categories and keywords showing. So as far as the search engine optimization for this page, it's going to be really low because we're not seeing titles, we're not seeing keywords, we're not seeing categories, we're not seeing any of that information that's going to help people find this stuff in search. So you definitely want to consider that. Now, if we're clicking on a photo, we are going to the photo page, and I was noticing that some of these were showing an image title and some of these were not. So again, I would just definitely think about the purpose of this page. Are you trying to sell your work? I think it should definitely be broken up into categories, being able to easier to digest for people visiting this. That way they can get quickly to the images that they're interested in without having to browse through all of these photos. Even though they're all beautiful, they're all gorgeous. Again, everybody's time is so limited. We want to make sure that we're getting them where they want to be as quick as possible. All right, so let's move on. So the next site menu item that we're in is the information drop down. So we're going to go here. We're going to hit up your about page really quick. And so again, I want to show you this. That is opening up in a new tab as well. So if I go here to about, we're now at 4 tabs that all have your Zenfolio navigation on them. I'm just going to keep a count. And let's go up here. We're going to take a look at this really quick. One of the things I noticed, I was reading over your about page and it's written kind of in the third person. And for me, that always comes across a little awkward, especially at the end when you sign your name. Because I'm like, I know that if you study up on it professionally, I think a lot of people recommend writing in the third person. For me, it always comes across a little awkward because I'm like, well, this is your website. Did you hire somebody else to write about you? And quite honestly, I want to know about you from you. So for me, the third person thing comes across a little awkward, but not a deal breaker. But I would love to see this come across more in a first person, especially if you're going to kind of sign your name down here at the bottom. Then you're like, did you really just write about yourself in the third person? So definitely something to think about here. I think you have a nice about photo. I do know that video is mentioned time and time again on your website, and I would love to see an about video here. Unfortunately, I am running out of time. I'm not going to be able to make it to the rest of the site. Randy, I want to say you have some beautiful images. The biggest couple of things for me is having all of these pages open up in the separate tabs. There's not really a reason for that. And then the branding consistency. I think it's fine having colors change for the content, but I would love to see your header keep some branding consistency and stay consistent across the site. Thank you so much for submitting your site for a review. I hope that this was helpful. You definitely have a great site started. There's just, like I said, those few things that I would suggest going in there and changing. And then you're definitely on your way to having a really nice and wonderful website. So again, I just want to say thank you very much for submitting your site for review. Hopefully this was helpful and have a great day. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching that site review. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you click that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you get notified when we post videos and when we go live. Now, if you're interested in having your site reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your website for that. And in addition to getting a site review, you're also going to get a link where you can schedule a session with me. We're going to go over your website, go over the review. I'll answer any questions that you have and help you make any changes that you're interested in making. So the link to sign up for that is in the description below this video. Now, don't forget Zenfolio Live coming up this Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you guys there. Until then, I hope you have a great week.